This could very well be the easiest lesson that we do. So we're still dealing with residuals. All we're trying to do is lead into using our calculator to see whether a linear regression, a line, is going to be our best model, or whether it's going to be a quadratic or an exponential. So far, even though we know residuals are the actual value minus the predicted. Predicted, we have to find a line of best fit, which is what we use with our calculator. Now we're going to change, instead of having that vertical line saying, oh, it's 4 4/10 away or -3 away, we want to show it on a different type of graph. Coffee. So that's not going to help me. Here we go. This is talking about a car. Okay. So the gas that you can get for a heavy or light car. Here we've got the curb weight in hundreds of pounds. So this is 2,500 pounds, 2,600. So this is getting heavier. The fuel efficiency is going down. The heavier the car, the lower the fuel efficiency. So this is a negative linear relationship, or so it appears. You will calculate, so they got this, they have all this, this is wonderful. Let's calculate the residuals. How do we calculate the residuals? Well, we can substitute exactly what it is into the equation they gave us. And we get 39 9/10. Actual minus the residual gives me actual minus the predicted gives me my residual. So let's do all the residual values. Okay, there's only 3 left. So I'm going to take my actual, which is 38, and I need to subtract it from what my predicted is. So I'm going to take 78.62 minus 1.5290 times 26.94. That gives me 37. So this one, the predicted, is I'm going to round to 37.4. So now I do 38 minus 37.4, and this gives me a residual of 6/10. Oh, that was really close. Okay, so let's do this one. 78.62 minus 1.5290 times 34. Oh, not 34. 30.12 gives me 32 and 6/10. So this one gives me 32 and 6/10. So I do 34 minus 32.6, and that gives me 1 4/10. I don't have to do this one again. Oh, yes, I do, because the weight's changed. Okay, so let's see. We're going to do 78.62. Mr. H, where are you getting the 78.62? That was the equation they gave us for this line. Minus 1.5290 times the weight of the car, 32.47, gives me 28.97. So I will call that 28.9. And I'm just going to round to 7 because I don't want to go up. So now I'm going to do my actual, which is 30, minus 28.97, and I'm going to get 1.03. 1 300. And now I'm going to double check my work to make sure that I've done this correctly. Woohoo, I have. Okay. So these are the residuals. Hopefully you have these written down because you're going to need them. I'm going to use my answer key because I need to move on, but hopefully you have those written down. So residuals we've been doing for a couple days. So now as I look, calculate them remaining 3 and write them in a table. Yeah, I did that. Okay. So now we have the residuals right here. So what am I doing? Well, I've still got my x, I've still got my y, but my y is now my residual values. We have a horizontal line at 0. So how far away, when we started at 25.33 was my residual? 3 1/10. At 26 9400, it was 4/10 away. I'm sorry, it was 6/10 away. So I go to 26 and 94, which is really close to 27, and it's about 6/10. There's my point. And I'm going to double check. Woohoo, I did great. Then I go to 27 7900. 27 79, and it goes down 6 1/10, which is right around there. Then I go to 20, I just did that one, 30 and 1200. 30.12 up to 1.4. And last but not least, we've got 32.47, and it's at right around 1. So there is my residual values. This chart is going to help us. So how does this pattern of the points in the residual plot relate to the pattern in the original scatter plot? The first point in the scatter plot is quite a long way above the least squares line, right? So it's really far away. That's fine. The second point is a relatively small distance, so it has small positive residual. The third is a long way. It has a large negative residual. This one has a small positive. This one has a small positive residual. Since the points above the line in the original scatter plot were closer to the line than the 1 point below, I would have expected the points above the 0 line in the residual to be closer, because those were all closer to our line. And you might be like, what do you mean, Mr. H? Well, let's go back up. Let's go all the way to this. All of these points were closer to my line than this one negative. So as I look at my actual residual line, the points above it should be closer to that line because they were closer to the original line, which means the residual is not as far. We will be doing this with our calculator in lessons 17 and 18. I am not going to give you a video on that. I'm going to do this with you in class. So does it stink that I'm not going to be able to pre-teach it to you? Yes, but there are 3 different things that you need to do in order to get a residual line in your calculator. So what are some of the important things? The predicted value is using your equation. The residual, we know, is the actual minus the predicted. The sum of the residuals provides an idea of degree of accuracy. Yeah, we don't care about that. To make a residual plot, plots the x values, and then have some numbers for your residuals. The y is going to be the residuals. We will do this a lot. Huzzah. One more video that I have to do for the module.